Right, welcome back to the show. Let's start from the beginning. Some of the stories that really blazed through Monday. Well, Governor Bayelsa State, Joy Odiri, has called on opposition parties and all the politicians and people right there in the states, well, at this time, to join hands with this government in order to move Bayelsa State forward. In fact, it said there's a need to rebuild the state. There's a need for all the leaders in the state to come together and reason, and not just reason in the most reasonable way, forgive my language, so that they don't miss out on their chance at achieving peace in this very week. Here is what he said to the politicians and all the people who are involved in the politics in the state.
Without security, nobody will come to Bayelsa. We must ensure that Bayelsa is peaceful and Bayelsa is secure. Let us not be vindictive. This lesson is not only for Bayelsa, this lesson is for Nigeria. That no man has power high and above the Almighty Creator. To call on all Bayelsans, home and abroad, that there is a new government in place in Bayelsa.
Well, of course, a new government in place after the Supreme Court did sack David Leon of the All Progressive Congress. Miscreancy in this deputy-elect paperwork was the story that was the prime of last week. And yes, they called for the sack. And that did happen after the election. Diri was declared the winner on November 16, 2019, by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Well, David Leon, of course, going on and on, things follow through in that right. But let's touch down into another perspective to this same Bayelsa story. Well, the All Progressive Congress are not going to take it easy or take it lying down or will say this is the end of it following the fact that it has gone through the Supreme Court. No, they won't be taking it that way. In fact, the All Progressive Congress says it has written to the Independent National Electoral Commission demanding for a fresh governorship election in Bayelsa State. Now, APC's Deputy National Policy Secretary Yakini Nabena said in a telephone interview with Abayomi Akibola, our political correspondent here in Abuja, that, they're not going to take it easy. No, in fact, they are going to push for a review of that judgment. Take a listen to what he explained right here to Nigeria Info directly, exclusively.
We have told our people to be calm. We cannot behave like the opposition party and PDP. We have told them to be calm and they will follow all legal proceedings to make sure that things are done the right way. The national chairman have done that to sent a letter to INEC.
And now he also talked about the PDP, but even more about the PDP, he questioned what are they doing at the embassies, the EU embassies, the foreign embassies, talking about a democracy. What are they doing there?
When things go wrong, goes the other way around, that the PDP chairman, which is secondos, always threaten that our democracy is in danger, then start working from to United Nations, American Embassy, and European Union. Once it's in favor of them, then the country is peaceful. So what I'm trying to say is that those secondos should know that political parties are not run like motor park chairmen, whereby they will shadow from Tinkan Island to Apapa Wharf.
Okay, well, that's unbiased politics. Now, let's talk about security. You win some, you lose some. Well, it looks like that's the scoreline in the fight against insurgents and terrorists and kidnappers. You name them, all the lineup of criminals that currently are besieging the state of the nation, as we would have it across the country. However, one story was interesting to follow through. President Buhari, of course, has condemned the latest round of attack that was earlier this week between bandits and residents in Damkal and Sanwana villages in Batsari local government area of Katsina State. Bandits last Friday had carried out separate attacks on both villages, killing 30 people, mostly elderly women and children. Now, his media advisor, Garba Shehu, was announced to say, that this revenge is not acceptable. Revenge is not acceptable in the country, and all needs to be done to make sure lives and properties continue to be saved. And the efforts of the government and law enforcement agencies to make sure bandits either surrender or are subdued will continue. Meanwhile, it looks like also this same week, the Nigerian Army, with support from fighter jets, did take on an attack on Gashau Road in Damaturu, Yobe State, right there in the capital. insurgents were sighted in that part of the country at about 5 p.m. on Sunday evening, the place known as Babangida Town. Well, the headquarters of Tamua Local Government Council, well, they sent away advancing and confirming that the army was able to take them without to be the acting assistant director, Army Public Relations, Sector 2, Operation Lafayette Dole, Lieutenant Chinonso Ote. It did speak about the fact that the army were on hand to make sure they did all they could to curb such a situation. Take a listen to him.
It's just a mere infiltration by some suspected Boko Haram terrorists or ISWAPers, we all know. But our troops were on top of the game and they mobilized immediately to the scene. So, and due to superior firepower and in conjunction with the support from the Air Force, so they were forced to withdraw. That's the terrorists. But we're still on standby, we're still on high alert, maximum alert. Troops are very ready.
All right, well, that was from the army there. On high alert earlier this week as regards to issues in Imo State. Now, the Senate has pledged to accommodate the views of stakeholders in order to rid the nation's statutory institutions of incidences of sexual harassment. Well, that's how the president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, gave his own assertion during the one-day public hearing on sexual harassment of students in tertiary education institutions prohibition bill of 2019. Remember, this bill did get the attention of ASU, the Association of Senior Staff University Union, did respond and say, well, what are you people talking about? Are you about to create a bill just because of us or because of lecturers and universities? They questioned that. They raised the question as regards why that is going on. Now, that bill was interesting, but in an opening remark made by Ahmed Lawan, who, by the way, was represented by the Senate Majority Leader, Yahya Abdullahi, he said sexual harassment of students was totally unacceptable. Let me share with you his words exactly regarding the sexual harassment bill as we would have it in the country at this time. So much said in there.
Our interest is to build a society where all will be free of intimidation and harassment, and where choices will be freely and reasonably made. We need therefore to be critical and firm on how best to proceed with this bill. My charge to you, ladies and gentlemen, is to be forthright in your suggestions and contributions.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. I remember I shared with you last week what the ASU team side said about that bill. Now, let's move past that issue a little bit and go to Imo State. This week, there was pro-APC protesters. Yeah, they were on ground making an attempt to make things clear that they were not happy at all with the way the situation was going. They're known as dependable patriotic allies. Well, on Monday, they stormed the Federal Ministry of Justice to submit a petition to stop the People's Democratic Party's appeal on the review of the Supreme Court judgment. Remember, the PDP put in an appeal, and then the Supreme Court said, come March 2nd, we will have looked through and determine how things will go going forward in that. But here's a group, Dependable Patriotic Allies, saying, no, we don't think you should look at that appeal. Let things stay the way they are. Well, one of the conveners of the group, Emmanuel Nwosu and Ali Abacha, spoke about this latest situation. Don't look at the review. Don't look at what the PDP have submitted to the Supreme Court. Stay. Leave it the way it is. Pretty much of how they describe the situation.
You participants and indeed other officers of the brigade must always remember that the core language skills of listening, speaking, reading and writing are all interconnected, and you must have a good mix of them to be able to communicate effectively. Proficiency in each skill is very necessary to make you a well-rounded communicator or speaker.
Oh, dear, looks like I mixed up the insert there. All right, I'm going to move past the story, but the story really stays the same. But regarding coronavirus, the West African Health Organization has reviewed regional approach to addressing the issue of coronavirus. Well, a communique that was being read at a World Press Conference regarding how things will go. Well, Nigeria's Minister of State for Health, Senator Olorunnibe Mamora, was sent a resolution was reached at an emergency meeting of ECOWAS Ministers of Health in Bamako, Republic of Mali, as regards what should happen next and how they would approach things. Let me allow him explain.
Enhance surveillance and management measures for COVID-19, particularly at entry points, air, land, and sea. Step up communication to ensure that the public receives accurate, appropriate, and timely information regarding the epidemic.
All right, regarding the epidemic, that's the plan. Okay, but then the DG of the West African Health Organization was also speaking regards what the ministers in the region had planned up. Let me see if I can share that with you at this time. But his summary of the whole matter is the fact that he was confident that we would get a better situation and would see to a situation where things don't go as bad as it appears. Meanwhile, it looks like the land border situation, we've gone quiet on it. Well, yes or no. Some people have gone quiet completely about it. But one group, the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, think it's best that the borders remain closed. Why? They are making money. Well, Joy Berebe was speaking to the Kano State chairman of the association, Abubakar Aliyu, regarding this whole story. And if rice being provided locally can feed the nation, he explained his way as regards what he thinks is already working out, not just for them, but also for the country. Take a listen to his response.
Among all plant foods, they are regarded as the richest plant source of protein. They are rich in iron, in potassium, rich in vitamins, folate, like thiamine, like niacin, and also low in fat, which makes it a very good meal for people who have high blood pressure.
Well, those are the positive highlights of what you can find in Nigerian rice if you choose to eat some. And if you're eating some and you don't know, or you don't even know what type of rice they're cooking for you, cool. What can we say about the matter? Just eat and eat good. Meanwhile, the Emir of Kano, Emir Sanusi, has been speaking lately. This week, he was a little bit tough. Some say it was tough, some say it was truthful regarding the situation in the north. He went after a lot of the northern leaders and especially their role in helping to phase out a situation where out-of-school children and malnutrition, drug abuse, insurgency, and all kinds of things were part of the things that were facing the country last week or during this week now. You remember that the Kaduna State governor clocked the age of 60. Well, Emir Sanusi was speaking at that very occasion. He called on the true northern Nigerian leader to do more for the area.
Now, because of the condition of northern Nigeria, it is almost cliche now to say if you are seen as normal, if you're a governor in the north or a leader in the north, and if you are seen as normal in the sense that you continue to do what your predecessors have been doing the same thing which has been normalized, then there's something wrong with you. You are part of the problem. We've been saying this for 20, 30 years. If the north does not change, the north will destroy itself.
All right, well, that's some tough one he did say there. Okay, so I'm just having this. Iran has reported one death among 10 new coronavirus infections in that locality as well. So that is on ground. And of course, there was also talk about chloroquine, if it could possibly curb the virus. Coronavirus, of course, is formerly known as COVID-19 by the World Health Organization, and how things have continued to be outbreak. But total numbers so far, it appears China has reached 2,245. South Korea is having large number of outbreak. They're banning public places gathering. They're creating safe zones for where people can gather. As of this morning, one death among 10 new cases in Iran. South Korea has 87 new coronavirus cases. China's president is thanking Bill Gates for providing $100 million to fight the COVID-19 disease. The last batch of Japanese passengers, I beg to say, are leaving the cruise ship even now. And 7 cruise ships that has Wuhan medical workers being examined at the time. These are some of the stories then. And also, in Imo State here in Nigeria, Boko Haram appears to have attacked the motorists. No number of people declared yet in terms of if there were any incident that has pretty much happened. But the story is being substantiated by the acting assistant director, Army Public Relations Sector 2, Operation Lafayette Dole, Lieutenant Chinozo Ote. It did confirm that did happen. No confirmation if there was an abduction or if there were lives lost in that. We'll track that story for the rest of the day to see how things pretty much are turning up with regards to that. Now, the Vice President, Nigeria's Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, was represented by Special Advisor to the President of Political Matters, Babafemi Ojodu, with regards to collaborating with Nigeria in diaspora on voting council. Well, this would ensure citizens living abroad can participate in the country's election in the nearest future. Now, explaining his way on why this is so, well, Ojodu pretty much made it clear that elections were really growing faster, and meaningful more than ever before.
Over 25 million Nigerians are said to be domiciled outside Nigeria. These 25 million Nigerians made huge and considerable contributions to the economy through humongous financial inflow into the country. In 2017 alone, a whopping $22 billion was recorded as remittances into Nigeria. The figure was 16.4 higher than what we obtained in 2016. In 2018, diaspora and remittances to Nigeria equals $25 billion, representing 6.1% of the GDP.
All right, well, that was Jojo speaking there. 25 million Nigerians may just get to participate in elections in the nearest future. Now, earlier this week as well, President Buhari was speaking at the passing out parade of Detective Inspector Corps 5, those who enrolled in the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission course there. On Tuesday, he was speaking regarding what is now expected and what they will do right, and how transparency and how new things have come onto his government following many moves, especially with regards to porters and registrations that have been going on. Take a listen to his assertion as regards transparency in his government.
The measures systematically being put in place to fight corruption through systematic reforms have also been yielding results. The reforms are aimed at eliminating discretionary behavior of public officials and disabling corruption. While it is important that we continue to fish out and punish corrupt persons, this government has equally been assiduously working on preventing corruption from taking place, thereby stemming it out of our system through the channels of series of institutional reforms.
All right, that's President Buhari speaking out on EFCC and, of course, the country as well, institutional reforms he is committed to. Now, speaking about the president now, Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed was speaking as regards many of the commentary made by religious leaders, politicians, and commentators about the president should resign. He was clear as regards what would happen. Take a listen for yourself.
I just said, as I said earlier, the country is facing scary challenges, and the challenges are being tackled headlong. However, there have been some red herrings in recent times, including those calling for the resignation of Mr. President. I want to advise all commentators, especially political and religious leaders, to be very careful at this time, not to aggravate the situation with incendiary comments that cast on our religious, ethnic, and political front lines to further divide the country. The kind of comments that have been attributed to some leaders recently, especially religious leaders, are incendiary and reckless. Leaders should be part of solutions to problems rather than aggravating situations. To those asking the President to resign, I want to say this very clearly. Mr. President will not resign. He has the overwhelming mandate of Nigerians to preside over the affairs of the country, the expiration of his tenure on 29th of May 2023.
All right, stay with me, because after the break, I get the chance to even talk more with some other issues. Honorable lawmakers. Well, that's the speech that was delivered this week by Patrick Lumumba this week. So stay with me. I'll be back shortly.
Hold on tight. It's the weekend. The Extravaganza. Real-time radio.
Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs this week had a good time with stakeholders regarding human rights protection in the country. Well, he said there's a plan by the federal government to remove 100 million Nigerians out of poverty with support. Of course, estimated that 40 million children out of school will also gain some reputation. Take a listen to that conversation as it went on this week. Here's that conversation regarding human rights and what the government is doing for the country.
You've all heard the president establishing his very noble ambition of lifting 100 million people out of poverty. It is our ambition to support that ambition, but of course it's a daunting task looking at the number of children out of school, and that basic provision of education and health, etc., is such an integral and vital part of seeing the human rights prevail in Nigeria.
And now that was Kelly Caslin, the head of the EU Nigerian delegation here. That was speaking. Of course, Geoffrey Onyema, Minister of Foreign Affairs, was on hand to receive him. Well, while still having that conversation, Onyema said this.
We make it clear that, as a government, we have an obligation and a desire to respect and promote the human rights of Nigerians. Peer reviewing it is a very good way of doing that with the Europeans, but also even within the framework of the African Union. Nigeria is coming up to use the African peer review mechanism, and we're going to be reviewed the next summit of African heads of state. But there are various aspects of human rights here. For us, it's the bedrock, the cornerstone of our democracy.
All right, well, that's interesting. But also this week, let me quickly say, it is believed that airport workers are being trained on how to, if they run into a situation where there's much talk about the coronavirus, what they should do next. Well, the Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, was speaking about this week on their training and how well they've been told on how to effectively deal with such a situation.
As part of our own responsibility as civil aviation to provide safe and secure services for our customers, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, which is FAN, has been collaborating actively with Port Health Services, which is the lead agency for public health in airports since the coronavirus outbreak, to ensure that the virus is not imported into Nigeria through our airports.
All right, that's interesting to know. Meanwhile, Senator representing Gombe South, Amos Bulus, has indicated, or has indicted the federal government for lacking the willpower to curb the proliferation of small arms and light weapons into the country. Senator Bulus demised words as he expressed his own perspective to how things are turning out and the reason why some of the situation regarding security has continued to go on.
So many weapons have been arrested at the Tinkand Island, and till today, nobody can categorically tell us what was the outcome of all those events that were arrested. It has always been stories. The truth is this: we know all the gun runners that are in this country. The only thing is that those that are saddled with that responsibility to actually take actions are not doing what they are expected to do. Rather, they convert that avenue for money making.
All right, well, Stella Odua, another senator, was speaking on the same subject.
It would be better to wait until the submission of the committee work. And in doing so, we can have a comprehensive deliberation on what and how our security setup should be. We can visibly see the gap where it exists, so we don't do anything on ad hoc basis.
And the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has called on state governors, by the way, to intensify efforts to address issues of poverty and drug abuse across the country. Well, these are some of the issues that's leading to criminality in the country. He expressed his reasons for that call this way.
Factors that lead to commission of crime should be eliminated in the society. That is where the governors come on board and the local government authority, because everything should never be left to the federal government alone. When you hear people talking of security challenges and they link it up with federal government, it is not enough to allow federal government or to focus on federal government. Let the state governments, the local government chairman, create the enabling environment that will create jobs, eliminate poverty, most of these people will never be involved in crime.
Well, the House of Representatives has given the Center Management Development, that organization, 3 weeks to provide receipts and remittance. In fact, pretty much of how their account has been run from 2014 till date. Well, chairman of that committee, James Faleke, chairman of the Committee on Finance, James Faleke, issued the directive on Wednesday.
There's a report stating that you ought to have remitted 375 million. This is an agency of the law. It's not a joke. And there are penalties for non-remitting. You know what we can do? We will recommend, if you don't pay, we will recommend the deductions of all your outstanding from every year allocation to you.
Tough measure. Now, honorable or honorable lawmakers, who else can say this except legal minds such as the man you know as Patrick Lumumba, who was speaking during the launch of the Green Chamber magazine this week. Take a listen to how he expressed some points in which he spoke for about 25 minutes. But here's a quick part of that conversation.
In Nigeria, as in many countries, people are asking, why is it that the things that we expected of our leaders have not been delivered? When you listen to Nigerians, both here and abroad, they are asking of their legislators, what are you doing? They are asking of their legislators, where are the promises that you made to us when we regained our independence? And the only way to answer them is through the medium of a publication such as this.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see whether that answer would get even more audible as the days pretty much go on, one would find. Well, President Buhari has called on religious leaders and traditional rulers as regards how things should go. The message is the preach. And well, their commitment in helping the society to heal and to be united at all times. He spoke this week at a national conference on repositioning the Muslim family for national development.
Up to this challenge, I, however, wish to call on all our other religious leaders and organizations, both Christian and Muslim, to follow suit by redirecting important elements of their preachings and teachings on family issues with a view to broadening the sensitization of people at the grassroots level.
And yes, okay. Buhari also said many of the problems confronting the nation stem from collapsed family values. Well, that's one way of saying it. But this time, it was his wife that did put forward that statement. Aisha Buhari speaking on the need for girl-child education and also confronting the issue of early girl marriage.
Some of the objectives were agreed to pursue, including identifying critical material marital challenges and suggesting relevant instruments for addressing them, sensitizing families and other relevant stakeholders on their specific and collective responsibilities towards mitigating marital challenges, and identifying policy matters requiring urgent attention.
And then Emir Sanusi also gave voice to that discussion.
We can speak from here to the end of this year and say that if you have children, you are responsible for their maintenance. If you have a house and your wife has 5 children and you divorce her, don't tell her to go to her father's house. You leave the house for her and go to your own father's house. Because you are supposed to provide her with accommodation. Now I can say that, and the sheikhs can say that, but I do not have the power to do it. It is only the governments that will pass a law and say that any man who divorces his wife with children is obliged to provide them with accommodation and maintain his children, and there should be the law and the courts and the system that will enforce.
Intense line of thinking. Let's see how that goes. Minister of Information said, well, we need to cut fake news as well. He's been speaking about that this Thursday. He was really all about it, saying, well, some people are just so committed to providing fake news, and we have to choose what we listen to.
There has been a spike in the dissemination of fake news and the use of disinformation in recent times. This is not accidental. This is because fake news, disinformation, and hate speech have become the weapon of choice, actually to create tension in the polity and destabilize the country.
And then there's also the talk about bringing in social media industry stakeholders to discuss ways to provide sanity within the sector.
We're also planning a major international conference that will bring together the tech companies, media practitioners, policy makers, and others as part of efforts to tackle this growing menace.
All right, well, with that said, I can go on and on. There's so many other stories to go on. Of course, the agency being talked about, the Senate for the reformation, repentant Boko Haram, one should be created. There was that conversation. There's so many things to dig around into. I can dig all the way through. I'm out of time this morning. Okay, but however, I'll still allow you make your comments regarding this. Remember, on my show, I believe you would have to be objective. You have to be factual. No abuses, no lies. In the event you're unable to abide by these rules, I won't cut you off your call. Pretty much that's the way. I believe in the sanity of conversation and being able to put forward your intelligence without adding abuses to that conversation. Join me now in the studio. Let's hear what you do have to say on 0946 00951 and then 08095974869 08031230293. The brief with FemiDlive is on. What are you reflecting on from this week? Good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Hello, family.
How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
Very well. Good to talk to you. What's your name?
This is Williams calling from. It's Williams calling anyway.
All right.
Family, let's talk about the legislative. I'm talking about how they could be able to be sanity and at the same time, cop out in spending in the system. But look at what the Senate, the House of Reps, currently, protecting. I'm asking them to protect about 400 something budget, which of 2020, which cost about some millions of about $1,000, about $35,000 or so each one. So I want to understand ourselves. Are we really making this country, the way we want this country to go with? At the same time, the senators, the chairman committees, housing about them, processing about them, what do they call that's crucial. I think we should be able to look at what it takes to put this country in the right perspective. So that by the end of the day, we should move in the right way we want this country to move to. And at the same time, I want to comment about Senate majority, Senate leader of Senate chairman of Army.
Okay.
I think it's uncalled for him to think that way, the way to think about. I've been an agency that will be to.
All right. Let's leave it at that with you. So,
I think it's not proper.
Thank you.
The Commission could be able to think about that.
Thank you so much.
To have.
All right. Thank you. Let's be considerate. There are other people also waiting to use the phone lines. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Family.
All right. Good morning. Talk to me.
Yeah, my name is Sojo Wasaba.
All right. Yes, you have 60 seconds, please.
Okay. I want to react about what Ndume said.
Okay.
Ndume has said it all. How can you be creating an agency for people that have killed men, innocent Nigeria? Is it that it's a way of encouraging them that they should continue doing what they are doing? And nobody is saying anything about the victims of the insurgency. So now, if IPOB will start demonstrating the way Boko Haram are demonstrating, does it mean that tomorrow now, nobody will speak against creating an agency for them? So you cannot see how they have now commercialized the issue of insurgency and terrorism. They are the ones that commercialized it because they know what they are gaining. By the time that they create that agency, it's another way of siphoning the country's resources, which is not going to go well for the country.
Thank you for that. All right, thank you.
Okay,
thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Okay, I know there's a lot to say, but let's just plan through. Good morning.
Hello.
Morning.
My good morning. My name is Benga.
All right, Benga, welcome to the show.
Yes,
60
I
seconds,
always
please.
like the audacity and the Emir of Kano. Sometimes I ask myself, why shouldn't he have been in the administration? Although he has been serving his people, because he has been saying this for a long time. There was a time they were against him about the Alimangiri, about people having children without money, without taking care of them. If they can pass that law in all the states in the north, it will bring sanity. Before you divorce a woman with a child, you must provide for the house. Either you leave that house for them, go and look for where you will live, or you build another house for them. That will reduce all these, children wondering about with their fatherless, not taking care of them. And also about the president that he should resign. I know that is a joke from the opposition. President is working. We have problems, yes, our challenges are there, but we are working in that direction. What we need is resources. What we need is manpower and arms to fight insurgency. And I believe that very soon we'll get over there. By the time we get to Kano, a plane that will come by next year, we'll see that things will reduce in the all the insurgency will reduce.
All right, thank you, Benga. Good morning to you.
Good morning, FemiDlive. How are you?
Very well. Good to have you on the show.
This is Abubakar calling from Gwagwalada.
All right, Abubakar.
Emir of Kano has addressed fundamental marital issue in the northern part of Nigeria. A lot of men abrogate power to themselves. They abuse marriage institution. They destroy the lives of many married women. They divorce with impunity. They leave the children in the care of women, which most of them have financial capacity to cater for. Emir of Kano is a visionary reformist who ideas and ideology, if implemented, could bring reform into the northern part of Nigeria and Nigeria by large. Because in most of Islamic countries, most nearby neighbors, North African countries, you can't go for second wife until a court grants evidence from your first wife. Are you capable financially to cater for the first wife? Then you can go for second wife. Thank you.
All right, thank you there. All right, interesting thoughts from you all. Good morning to you.
FemiDlive.
Yes, sir. How are you today?
Not to break the news like the news.
Like the news.
We can't take it away from you.
Thank you, sir.
100%.
Okay.
Abubakar for Suleja.
Good to have you on.
Emir of Kano did not, we don't know what they have learned. That man, time has passed. That we pray for him, for his long life and prosperity. And Sultan of Sokoto. Tell me, have you been in Mogadishu in Kaduna? There is a court in Mogadishu there.
Okay.
They are voicing. You will hear the judgment there every day. They are voicing. And you cannot make provision for the wife you divorce and the children you need for the woman. Only what you can hear here now, FemiDlive. Can you have capable to marry 4 wives? I have 4 wives. In the matter Gudahudu, they are using it to boast. Look at what is happening in the Lord. Insecurity, Boko Haram, bad date. They cannot even help the area of Kano and Sultan of Sokoto to bring solution. FemiDlive, do you know what somebody told me? A very close my senior brother. He told me that he said, that is, if Nigeria allow those people to separate, give them 5 years, they will develop like China because they have the engineers.
Okay.
They have both home and abroad that they can make their country great.
Let's leave it at that.
Thank you very much.
Time is not on our side. Reading from Abigail from Kuje, she says, good morning, FMD. I still can't wrap my mind around an agency for repentant Boko Haram. Can it be under the Northeast Development Board? What's the need for an agency to do that? She questions. Oh dear, that is stay. Good to move past that. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Fine, sir. How is your family, sir?
Very well. Talk to me.
My brother, what happened here? Me, I don't know what to talk about, but it's a surprising thing. Because this Yobe issue, it was that yesterday, there was one lawmaker from Yobe said they should make laws. If even the law are passed this week in the Senate, say they should be rehabilitating the Boko Haram, bringing them back to society. And if you look at what are the people where these people scatter them, displace them, they have no place to stay, no food to eat. They never make law to make them, the government to be giving these people food, to make where they will be hiding their head, now to make law to rehabilitate Boko Haram, who are destroying the people, making people homeless. And if you look at the people, some of them are from Burkina Faso, some from Chad, from Niger, different from Kenya. They are from different places.
Okay.
Now they have resetting them to society, giving them huge amount of money. How can this thing will end? Now this thing have come to not to finish again. That is why services are remaining there. It has come to business.
Thank you so much.
It's very, very obvious.
Yes, let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for your contribution. Good morning to you.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. What's your name?
Yes, this is Mr. Paul.
All right, Mr. Paul. Go on, please.
Thank you. Yes, I want to comment on Emir Sanusi's comment on the issue of marriage. For me, I think he's just clever by half. I know he has 4 wives. I don't know the number of children he has. See, if you want to be sincere, I know a lot of Muslims, reputable Muslims, even a prince from the Sokoto Caliphate, who has only 1 wife, and he's a London-trained fellow. You see, it's not if you have money, you go ahead and marry 4 wives and fill all the place with children, and you say you have done it. As you blame those who don't have money, and they marry a lot of children, and a lot of wives and many children, they are imitating you. Who knows? So if Emir Sanusi wants to have a revolution, he should preach, even if you have money, marry only 1 wife and have just certain number of children, so that you will take care of them and people will emulate you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Okay. I have room for just one more now. Morning to you.
And that one more person is Uncle Tom.
Good morning to you.
Yes, on this issue of a deal for this amnesty or whatever for the Boko Haram.
An agency for repentant Boko Haram. An agency, yeah?
Yes. You see, my understanding is this. Necessity is the mother of invention. All wars end up on the conference table. The Colombia situation is getting to 52 years. Now, the Afghanistan issue now, the Americans are discussing to end it up on the conference table. So, what is happening now is this. Smarting from what happened about this amnesty commission, which those boys in the creek were killing, maiming, destroying property, they were welcomed in the villa. And they were accepted. They dropped their arms. And there's a commission for them. So this Boko Haram issue is not that these guys, these people that were freed, we were Boko Haram per se.
Okay.
Some of them were conscripted against their will.
All right.
So do we now get back to them and don't have anything to radicalize?
Okay, Uncle Tom.
Radicalize them.
Right, they radicalize them.
Government is just taking, government is just taking measure to see how we can carve in this. Okay, finish.
All right, thank you. I know. I'm pressed for time. I have someone who's standing by here that we have to take on. Good morning, FemiDlive. God bless the Sultan of Kano, Emir Sanusi. Godwin from Suleja did write that in. Bas from Gaki says, FemiDlive, when is the government going to start issuing application form for Boko Haram members? Some of us want to join and get rehabilitated when caught and repentant. Okay, that's not the best of expression now. Here's another message. He says, I'm sure if we're not careful, one of the Boko Haram leaders will end up being the DG of the agency. Nigeria, wake up and standing from Gwags. All right, well, thank you so much for all your messages and your calls this morning. That's how many of them I could take. I can take much more. Okay, good morning, FemiDlive. God bless. Okay, I did take this already. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being part of The Brief this week. I'll be back next week with another set of stories that did rise, reign, and did get attention every week. The Brief with FemiDlive. Thank you, and I'll be back with more. Shortly from now, I will be taking on a paid interview. Stay with us right here on Nigeria Info.
This is
I'm often asked, why do I do a political show? Well, it has to be because of one of my favorite political quotes, the Gessner philosophy. And it says, the right leaders feel a sense of urgency in good times and bad, whether facing threat or opportunity. No matter what, they are obsessed, afflicted with a creative compulsion and inner drive for progress, burning hot coals in the stomach that remains constant, whether facing threat or opportunity. This is what I also believe, that there's a sense of urgency that needs to be done with every right leader. And that is why I do the show. This I believe. I am FemiDlive.
5.1 Nigeria Info.